device. Oh. Okay, there we go. It should be working. Anyways. Sorry that took so long. That took almost 2 minutes just to figure out the microphone. Anyways, I'm just gonna check real quick how or if everything's working. Alright, that took almost 2 minutes just to figure out the microphone. Anyways, I'm just gonna check real quick how. Okay, it is working. It's working perfectly. Anyways, so I just recently started this Minecraft world with a bunch of data packs. Oh no, is the stream lagging? Oh no. Is it lagging? Oh no, it's lagging. Oh god, now I need to fix this. I think that might fix it. Did it fix it? Okay, that did not fix it. Crap. If you tried, maybe if I just put everything to minimum. What? Hold on. Hold on. If I close everything except for OBS and Minecraft, will that work? No, it will not work. Okay, so what's wrong with this? It's doing something. Now is it gonna work? Oh, what the heck? So if I'm in my inventory, it'll work perfectly fine. Okay? Perfectly fine it works. But then I go out of my inventory, and all of this happens. See, on my end, like, me actually just playing Minecraft is working perfectly fine. It couldn't really be working much better. Like, right now you can see I have 66 FPS. You know what? Actually, the stream seems like it's working at least partially okay right now. So I'll leave it like that. I won't mess with that anymore. Anyways, the title of the stream probably interests anybody who comes by it, which is, I just wanted to show me, taking down a whole ancient city. Yes, that is correct, you heard me right. I'm going to take down a whole ancient city. Now, you might get mad at me for the main reason of I have been using sort of cheats. I mean, it's just enchanting stuff that I don't have enough XP to do, and then I destroy the books that I would have used if I had enough XP. That's why I say it's only sort of cheating, because it's not really. I mean, I'm still using the book. See, I got a mending and efficiency 5 book in this place. This place is insane. Well, technically there are 2 ancient cities, because I was lucky enough to spawn right over a lush cave that also happened to be at the deep dark, where one ancient city is connected to a second ancient city, and I feel like that's just insane. I do have it on peaceful mode right now, just because the warden, I don't really like heart attacks. But hold up, I don't think I've looted this chest yet. I did kill the warden though, so I'm not like... Took a while, but I still killed it somehow. I think I did actually loot that chest. But anyways, yeah, I'm just gonna take you through the whole process of taking the whole place down. Oh yeah, and I just cheated in the enchantments for the shears, and whenever the shears get low on durability, I just summon XP bottles, and that'll fix it up. I hate that the thing's going so the stream's lagging so much. I hate it. There's no reason for this. Yeah, you may have just seen that diamond ore that I just passed by. That diamond ore, the reason there's so much of it is because one of the data packs has another type of cave called the magma caves. And the magma caves are like the basalt, or basalt, whatever they're called. The basalt, I don't know. I don't know. The basalt biomes. That's just what I'll call them. So it's pretty much just like an overworld version of the basalt biomes. And they have a bunch of diamonds for some reason. Probably because, like, diamonds are created with such pressure, and down here has to have a lot of pressure with all of the magma creating, like, whatever, I don't know. But, yeah, for the past, like, 15 minutes, half hour, I've just been lighting the place up, and I did break down a, not like big area, but I'd say like if you were to go from this, like this half of the tunnel archway thing, that's about how much I did. See, Skulk Shriekers I like them. They're a very nice thing. But when I'm not in peaceful mode, and I get a Skulk Shrieker to start shrieking, I don't really like them anymore, because then the big boy Warden is gonna try to decapitate me with his toes. That sentence made no sense even to me, and I'm the one that made that sentence. Anyways, ooh, candles. White candles. Kinda look like snowballs. I don't like you, Warden statue. Goodbye, Warden statue. I wish there was a... Wait, maybe there is. Maybe there is. Oh my god, I just noticed. So a bunch of the chests have hose. And I just put it together. The hose are probably the tool that mines Skulk fast. See, it would be very nice if I could figure out where I am. That effect on the magma with the Skulk veins looks so cool. That's... I don't recognize this place at all. There's no lush cave. Oh, this is the other... This is the other, ancient city that... I probably just went so far. Yeah, I remember right there was like 20 Skulk sensors alone. There it is. There's the there's the thing, the lush caves. Anyways, on my way back, and there's my base. So the next part I'm gonna break down is this part over here. I do have some bamboo. Oh yeah, another thing that I did, if you just look for a second, I turned up the tick speed. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah, I turned up the tick speed, but that's fine. That's fine. See, the reason I'm breaking down the whole ancient city is because I want to have a base in this giant area. It would be a giant base, and maybe I can make this into a series. I haven't really played Minecraft, apart from servers, since the 1.19 update came out. But, I do think it's very cool. Like, Mojang promised a lot of things. They didn't get all of them. Fireflies, I was really bummed out that they, canceled. All because in real life, if a frog eats a firefly, the frog's probably gonna die. But they could have just not implemented the frogs eating the fireflies. And the new birch forests, I was so excited for that. I wish they had those. I wish they had actually brought those. Like, it took like what, 6 months to make this update. I bet they could have stretched it out a little bit longer to get all of the things that the people wanted in the game. Anyways, as you can see, I'm just breaking these Skulk sensors. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, I remember why I wanted to come back here. I have this. which I just ran. That's the tool. I was completely correct. Very useful. Very useful. Anyways. Wow. Okay. I know it has efficiency 5, but this thing goes very fast. It's very good that it goes so fast. Jesus. Okay. Yeah, I don't really know what to talk about. I mean, this isn't a recording, so I can't just skip through. So my way of doing this is I break all the easy to break blocks first. Like I break the wool and the skulk first because those can break pretty fast. Wait a minute. Oh my god, they get broke. This shouldn't be a surprise to me by now. But I really just figured out that the skulk sensors and skulk shriekers and skulk catalysts all get broken quickly by a hoe. It makes sense because everything else made out of skulk is also broken quickly by a hoe. But my brain doesn't know that. Anyways. Oh yeah, also wood is the other thing. That's pretty easy to break. I like a lot of people's like theories about what happened in the ancient cities. Like one theory where the ancient builders came down here and built a gateway to the Warden, and that created like a disease-like thing contained in the underground areas of the world. And then they had to worship it, and then they had to sacrifice people to keep the Warden at bay. But then when the last person sacrificed themselves, the Warden got angry, and anything that triggered the sensors 3 times would be punished by a god. Because that's pretty much what the Warden is by now. The Warden is pretty much a god. It's very hard to kill it in survival. Like, very hard, unless you find some sort of glitch to make it so you can get it to stop attacking you, which is what I did. But yeah. This place is almost all out of skulk, which is very good. I want it all gone. It's very nice on the floor. I like the skulk on the floor though. You know, this is very. I already said this, but I really like this. I really like this update. Is that almost... I think that's almost everything. Almost all of the skulk on this area of the structure. Yeah, that's almost all. Okay. And I think that's the last piece. Yeah. Okay, it's gonna take a little bit to get this all broken down. There was dripstone. There's dripstone on the slabs. Okay, that shouldn't be possible, but okay. Yep. It's Minecraft, whatever. My simulation distance is so low I can... Wait, what? Seriously? The thing's hitting me through the... Oh yeah, look at these pants that I found. Well, I put Swift Sneak on them, but... Protection 4, Mending, and Unbreaking 3 on iron leggings. I just found them in a chest. Just randomly in a chest. There's a bunch of coal, bones, and surprisingly enough, the Swift Sneak book that I used on these was actually in that chest too. Or no. It was in one of those areas where it has like... Actually, the area that well, the type of... I don't know if it's the exact area, but the type of area that I got it from is right here. I still think it's really funny that I just found out that the hoe is the thing that breaks the skulk fast. I can't believe I just found that out. Yeah, but anyways, there's 2 chests. See? There's one. Fire Protection 3 isn't as good as the stuff that I have, but still. I like these candles. These candles are nice. Wait. For a second I thought that the hoe was breaking the candles fast too. And I was like, what? How was I not informed of this? See, I know that the Deep Dark is supposed to have a lot of skulk, but I feel like sometimes, like in some places, it's a bit excessive. Just a bit excessive. Like, sometimes it'll go like 5 blocks deep. It's insane. Skulk isn't supposed to go that deep. It's just skulk. There's not much special to it. I mean, there's plenty special to it, but still, whatever. Ooh! I've been collecting these skeleton heads. I've been collecting them. I like the skeleton head. I like that they just added skeleton heads. Oh, there was a warden statue here. Not anymore. Oh god, this stream's lagging a lot again. God damn it. Yeah, whatever. Whatever, I can't do anything about it, so you guys are just gonna have to be here. You just gotta bear with me. That's the sentence I was going for. Yeah. It is, as I said before, it's very much going to take a long time to get this. But when I do clear everything out, there will be a time when that happens. When I clear everything out, I will make some sort of structure. I will make some sort of base that looks like it was made in the ancient city when the ancient builders were here. I like how I'm just saying the ancient builders, even though it's not guaranteed that they were this race of people. Anyways, 1 second. I gotta go let my dog in my room. It'll take like, what, 5 seconds? So like, time me on that. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm back. Wait, I need to close the door. I probably should have closed the door before. Hold up, I gotta stretch. There we go. Okay. See, the OBS was running so smoothly before I started streaming. But then as soon as I started streaming, OBS was like, "No. You don't get to stream. Who said you could stream, huh? Who do you think you are, kid, huh?" It's like an Italian mafia boss. But anyways, I wish I was actually talking at someone. Like, it would be nice if there was actually someone in the stream. I'm just trying to figure out what to talk about by myself. I'm not good in conversation in general. I don't know why I'm even trying to converse with my subconscious. Sometimes I can do good with conversation. Just sometimes. And when I do good in conversation, it doesn't last long at all. I'll keep it to like a maximum of 50 words. 50 words, and then I'm done. I'm all conversed out. That is if I'm talking to somebody like I just met or something. If it's somebody that I've known for a while, then I'd probably be fine. I'd be fine. But anyways, I think we are almost done with this area of the thing. Probably not. See, if I put haste on myself, it would be cheating, but I mean, it's my world. Whatever. My Minecraft save. You don't get to tell me what to do on my Minecraft save. I really do hope further into the future I can get, like, not famous, not like world famous, but like, maybe world famous. I just want to be able to connect to people. Like, that's one of the main problems that I have in my life. Like, I don't know if anybody knows this, but I'm autistic, so it's kind of hard for me to connect to people. It's kind of hard for me to relate to people. One good thing about streaming, though, is, of course, while I'm streaming, it's not really like I'm talking to somebody, and if somebody does join the thing, it still doesn't completely feel like somebody's actually there. Because I'm still playing a video game. And, that just takes my mind off of that there's an actual person that I'm talking to. And I don't get, like, nervous and start, messing up conversation. I do hope someday I can at least get, like, some amount of viewers on my stream each time. Like, sometimes, just like today, or like right now, I'm getting pretty much no one on this stream, as you can probably tell by the way I'm, like, explaining it multiple times. But, anyways, it's taking a while to get a good amount of viewers, but that's just how it works, isn't it? That's how it works. You take a while to get famous, but then when you get famous or popular, it's easier to get a fan base. I feel like that's my main goal. Fan base, and then a side goal for when I get a good big fan base is trying to make a living off of doing this stuff, because it would be very nice if I could get a bunch of fans that, like, actually watch my videos all the time. I do know I would have to up the quality of my videos substantially, or significantly. I don't know if both words can be used. I don't know if either word is acceptable for that sentence. But I honestly don't really care what word is acceptable. Anyways, yeah, it would be very nice for me to be able to do content creation for a living, because I'd be able to give people things to watch. I'd be able to give them entertainment, and I would be able to do something that I enjoy doing without having to do something else. Like, I would be able to just live on playing games and doing things that I like. And when I do get popular, I could be like, say, Markiplier. He's one of my main inspirations. See, like, Markiplier, he has, like, In Space with Markiplier, and he has stuff like that, like Heist with Markiplier, Date with Markiplier, Who Killed Markiplier. Those things, they're really fascinating to me, because they're like movies. They're very good, very well put together. He has a very good crew. He has a lot of friends that he can just, like, he had Bob and Wade just helping with the creation of the movie, and there I go, subconsciously calling it a movie. But they helped with the creation of it. Like, they were kind of main characters, and I just couldn't see either of the roles that, or any of the roles that Bob and Wade took up in Space with Markiplier. I couldn't see either of those roles taken by anybody else. Like, I feel like they were the perfect people. I feel like Markiplier chose the right people, and they just so happened to be his best friends, and that's very nice. Yeah, I really hope I can do something like that in my life. That would be a way for me to be immortalized. Like, see, the thought of death doesn't really scare me, because I mean that's just something that's gonna happen to literally everyone. Like, you may be able to prolong death, like cryostasis, I think that's the word for it, is already being done in a way. Like, people are already being frozen. Like, some people have like irreversible diseases as of now that can be stopped, like the progression of them can be stopped by freezing the person, and then they're gonna try to bring them back in the future. But even that's like not that's not permanent or definite. It's not like, oh, you're gonna get frozen and then sometime in the future you will be revived and you're gonna have all this new technology to help keep you alive if you ever get big diseases ever again. Like that may be a thing in the future, but I don't think immortality will ever be a thing. And if it does become a thing, for at least like 100 years, I'd say it would be reserved for only the wealthy. Like, people like Dan TDM or Markiplier or Jacksepticeye, those people would have like enough money to be immortal if the technology were to exist. But then again, people like them, like they haven't necessarily lived a really long life already, but they've gained knowledge that a lot of people haven't gained with their same amount of life. Like, some people are in their 40s and they still insanely fear death. I do feel like that is something that many people do feel. I am not one of those people that fear death, as I said. But I do think death is very interesting. I did hear a story on Reddit. I don't necessarily believe it, but they were like doing stuff like people with irreversible diseases, they were brought into testing, and when they died they were kept dead for 3 days. Well, it was clinical death, not biological death. There is a difference. Biological death is when all of your bodily functions just fail to have, or did I say I think I said biological death. If I did not say biological death, then I'm explaining biological death right now. But biological death is when every function of your body, say your heart, your lungs, your brain, everything just ceases to function. But like, these people were clinically dead, meaning there was no brain activity and vitals were significantly slowed. Like, heart rate was at, like, minimum for life. Or human life, at least. I've seen that narwhals can get their heart rate to, like, I think it was like 5 beats per minute. That's insanely low for a mammal. You know, I've never really bothered to learn about it. But I've always been curious. Like, what happens in an insect's body? Like, do they still have normal organs like a mammal does? Or even I'm just gonna say lizard. Amphibians or like, come on, I just had the word. It's not lizard. Reptilian. That's the one. Reptilian. Like, I know reptilians and larger organisms. I know they have, like, heart and lungs and stuff like that. Well, of course, fish have gills, but still, some fish have, like, weak lungs. Like what's it called? The mud skipper, maybe? Whatever it is, it like walks on land and then it just goes back into the water after some sort of time. But after that, it's able to, not after that, it's able to breathe on land for a little bit, like seals, or maybe it can't breathe on above water because it could just be holding its breath, for all I know. But anyways, back to the story. These people were doing tests on people that had diseases, and the first person they were dead in the testing area for 3 days, as they were supposed to. Then on the 4th day, they were brought back to life. And when they were brought back to life, they had a blank stare. They were responsive, pupils dilating, stuff like that. They were barely talking, but they were making no sense with what they were saying. And that just seems like, or no, that's not the end of the first person. The end of the first person story was that person all of a sudden just started screaming, like inhumane screaming. That I wouldn't be able to describe it because obviously I wasn't there. I'm not a scientist who like works on reviving the dead and figuring out what's after death. But they were screaming, and then the second person, it was a little kid with cancer. They died. After 3 days, they were brought back to life. And then it was even more screaming. Even more screaming. There was no talking at all. Just simply screaming. Nothing else. They did an autopsy after the little kid died, for good, and it was shown that their vocal cords were burnt. That's one of the main reasons I don't believe the story, but later in the story, you know what, actually, I have the video saved to my phone. I could just, while I'm doing, oh wait, hold on, I have an idea. Okay, so I'm just gonna plug in my phone so I can actually play this stuff, because my phone is at 13%. It should be able to withstand living for a little bit while it plays the videos. I don't think I'd get, like, a copyright strike or anything, because this is, like, it's probably a made-up story. Where is it? There it is. Okay. Yeah.
What happens to human consciousness after we die? We discovered something horrifying. Roger looked at us then through the glass, his eyes wide with shock and fear. I'm part of a team studying what happens to human consciousness after we die. We discovered something horrifying. How does it work? Death, I mean. How does it work? That was the point of the entire study, the trial. What happens when we die? Where do we go? What does it feel like? And is it even worth the hassle? Is there a heaven? A hell? We didn't know, but we wanted to. I suppose that's where everything went wrong, right out of the gate. We wanted to play God, or at least learn the rules of the game, to see behind the curtain for just a moment, if only so we could know what to expect when the lights went out and we said that final good night. I'm telling you now, swearing to you that we never intended for things to go wrong the way that they did. The people that lost their lives knew what they were getting into. They signed releases, paperwork. They agreed to let us do what we did, just so long as we promised to handsomely compensate their families. And we did. We held up our end of the bargain to the tune of $13 million. But things like this, they never work out the way they're meant to. I knew that. I did. I think that on some level all of us did. But the people who were funding us had no idea. They wanted results. Be messy, they said, if that's what it takes. Do whatever you need to do to figure out what happens in the sequel to life, and make it snappy because this funding is running on an hourglass, and that sand is slipping. So we cut corners. We pushed people in ways that, in retrospect, were irresponsible. Dangerous. But we did it for the common good. We did it for you, for all of us, for the benefit of future generations who could look death in the eye without the horror of not knowing what came next. It was a good thing. It really was. The first death went smoothly. An older woman, 87 years old and dying of liver failure, was hooked up to our state-of-the-art equipment that had one job and one job only, to bring them back, to let them taste the cold kiss of death, and then tear their soul back into the land of the living long enough to give us a play-by-play of what happened while they were away. I know. This has happened before. People have come back from clinical death plenty of times, haven't they? Sure. That's true. But never after 3 days. The 3-day timeline was a tricky one because even though the corpse was dead, even though the cadaver was cold and beginning to cellularly decompose, we needed to keep it fresh enough to host life. Don't get me wrong, the life it hosted didn't last long. But it lasted long enough. I still remember the pulse of excitement that shot through the room when the old woman opened her eyes. Her first rancid breath drew applause. Agnes, Roger, our research lead, said. He stood by her bedside, craned over her wearing a token gloves. Can you hear my voice? The woman nodded. More applause. We watched the two of them from behind a layer of one-way glass, all of us in our lab coats while Roger communed with her breathing corpse in what was practically a freezer. Their voices carried over a loudspeaker. I'm part of a team studying what happens to human consciousness after we die. We discovered something horrifying. Where? Am I? Agnes gasped, her throat trembling with the strain of vocalizing. I'm tired. You are with friends, Roger said. Safe. Roger turned to us, grinning with a thumbs up. We'd successfully brought back our first subject, and not only was she alive, she was communicating. Lucid. He turned back to her, likely knowing we had a limited window to extract the info we needed. Do you remember the study you agreed to be a part of? Agnes' eyes opened wide, and her pupils seemed to jolt around like ping-pong balls. Death, she muttered. Death. Roger nodded, running a hand through her thinning hair. That's right, Agnes. We wanted to know what happens to the soul after death, and you agreed to take that journey and return to us. You're the first human being to have done so. Congratulations. I'll never forget what happened next. She gazed up at him, those rolling eyes and that absent voice, and she gripped the front of his shirt with a shuddering, frail hand. He leaned closer to her, no doubt thinking she wanted to speak into his ear. We belong, she said, her chest beginning to heave. To them. Roger looked at us, his expression confused. He shook his head. Agnes, I'm sorry. To whom are you referring? Her legs jerked sideways, her spine arching as she began to thrash on the slab. Blood leaked from the corners of her eyes. Roger, concerned, attempted to hold her body so she wouldn't injure herself and compromise what little time she had left to communicate. He ordered more of us in. I hurried to his side with 3 others. We belong, she said again, and this time her voice was stronger, as though empowered by her agony. To the forgotten. Even with 4 of us on her, each holding a limb, she was rioting with a strength that could only be described as inhuman. It took everything I had to hold her scrawny blue wrist to the slab. Beside us, the machine monitoring her vitals began to beat violently, indicating levels grossly out of range. What comes next? She hissed, and smoke began to drift up from her mouth, is worse than any hell. Before we could ask further, before we could subdue her and help her pass peacefully, she went still on the slab. Her limbs fell limp. Her buzzing pupils stilled. Her mouth ceased to smoke, and her head lolled to the side. Agnes Mick had died for the 2nd time. We had her corpse carted to the morgue for an autopsy and discovered that her brain showed signs of hemorrhaging. Her heart had partially ruptured in her chest, and most bizarrely of all, her vocal cords had been seared, as if something had lit them aflame.
Okay, third part.
I'm part of a team studying what happens to human consciousness after we die. We discovered something horrifying. Her results were ominous, to say the least, but we were intelligent enough to know that a sample size of 1 does not a conclusion make, and so we eagerly awaited our second subject. This one was a young boy named Jacob. He'd been struck by a vehicle in a hit and run and fallen into a coma. His parents never had an opportunity to say goodbye, and so they agreed to allow us to perform our study so long as they were there for his revival. The process was similar to Agnes. Jacob lay unmoving on the slab in the freezer room, wires and diodes hooked up to his chest and temples, a white sheet draped across him. By his side stood Roger, and both of the boys' parents, all of them clad in toques and gloves. Are you ready? Roger asked. Yes, they said. We all waited behind the glass with heart-pounding anticipation. Roger clicked a few keys on the computer console, and the machine began its mechanical song. A moment later and the screen flashed green as it initiated its afterlife sequence, filling Jacob's unmoving cadaver with a myriad of electrical pulses designed to shock his brain into functioning. The boy's feet, dangling outside the white cloth, began to twitch. Then his fingertips. His mother and father looked at one another, grasping hands as they waited for the sun to return to them. Hopeful tears leaked from the corners of their eyes, their lips mouthing silent words of affirmation as they prepared to say goodbye to their son. Screaming filled the room. It burst through the loudspeaker like an explosion, causing all of us watching to jump and scatter, our primal nervous systems fleeing while we attempted to uncover the source. But the source, I think, was always obvious even if we didn't want to believe it. It was coming from Jacob. He lay there, his toes and fingertips twitching as his mouth hung open in an ear-splitting scream, his mother and father crowding him in horror, doing their best to calm him, assuage his pain, his confusion, his horror. It's difficult to describe the sound of Jacob's scream. I'm hesitant to say it was human, let alone the sound of a 9-year-old boy. Was most similar, I feel, to a drowning sheep. It was an anguished bleating sound, one that seemed never-ending, and yet it told a terrifying story all on its own. Eventually, Jacob's parents made the decision to pull the plug on their son. It was the second time they'd made the decision in a little under a week.
Okay, fourth part.
I'm part of a team studying what happens to human consciousness after we die. We discovered something horrifying. The last subject was the one that stuck with me. The one that haunts me to this day, and the reason I'm writing this now, sharing this with all of you. It was a woman named Charlotte. Young. Vibrant. In the prime of her life, Charlotte was an eccentric woman from a wealthy and educated family. She had spent her mid-20s traveling the world, primarily across portions of South America as she researched content for her book The Meaning of Life, a self-described shaman. Charlotte put great stock in the spiritual practices of different cultures. She'd participated in hundreds of rituals across dozens of tribes. She'd tried everything from peyote to DMT, leveraging any drug she could get her hands on that promised psychedelic insights. Despite the heavy usage, Charlotte appeared to be perfectly clear-headed and not at all negatively impacted. To put it simply, she was as healthy as could be. That's why we found it strange when she approached our small project and asked to be included. When we informed her it was only for those suffering from terminal afflictions, she asked if she could be added to the list anyway. Sort of like an organ donor. We agreed. Charlotte offed herself the following weekend. Bullet through the skull. Quick and likely painless, though it's impossible to know for certain. Many times such acts of suicide last longer than the subject intends. Either way, we had our third volunteer. Charlotte's parents were initially opposed to the idea, but we informed them that we had her written, legal consent. They asked to meet us halfway, to be there when she returned. After the situation with Jacob, however, we disallowed them from participating in the trial. The science is new, you understand. It's possible that emotional catalysts like family figures may have an adverse effect on brains so far removed from life. No, we said. We'll bring her back and we'll tell you everything that she says, and that will be that. So they relented. No lawsuit. No drama. We were free to bring Charlotte back from death in 3 days' time, and that's exactly what we did. The scenario played out like the others before. The freezing room. The beeping machine. The diodes sprinkled across her body, and the white sheet draped over her torso. Roger stood beside her, operating the machine while we monitored the readings. His fingers danced across the keyboard and the screen glowed with the words "Afterlife sequence initiated."
Fifth part.
I'm part of a team studying what happens to human consciousness after we die. We discovered something horrifying. Once again we watched from behind the glass. Once again Roger waited patiently, a hopeful smile on his face. 20 seconds passed and nothing occurred, not so much as a twitch of a toe or a flick of an eyelash. Charlotte's corpse remained every bit as dead as the day we carted her in. A minute went by and we still saw no sign of resurrection. Roger looked back to the machine, shaking his head, and he removed his gloves, evidently wondering if he'd hit a wrong key with his mitts. He began the sequence again. The machine buzzed and words flashed green across the screen once more. But Charlotte lay still. "Elliot," he said to me, his voice ringing out over the loudspeaker, "can you come inside and check this out? I think it might be malfunctioning." I swallowed. I triple-checked the machine and made sure it was functioning to specification, just as it had the last 2 times. Still, I nodded from behind the two-way glass and opened the door to the freezer. As I stepped inside the -30 room, I pulled a set of gloves and took from the wall and began my appraisal of the system. The wires checked out. The program was running to spec. All the diodes were in the correct place. "I don't see any issues here," I said, shivering. Roger frowned, looking back to Charlotte's cadaver. He placed his hands on his hips and cursed, wondering if somehow we'd encountered a dud. "Maybe some people can't be brought back," he theorized. I opened my mouth to respond, but something about Charlotte caught my eye. It was her lips. They were pulled into a thin grin, and black fluid was leaking from between them. "Have you seen it?" she muttered. Roger and I exchanged looks and he slipped me a wink. "Well done," he whispered. "Now get back behind the glass." I obliged, not wanting to impact the experiment any more than I already had. "Charlotte," Roger said, "do you remember the study you agreed to participate in?"
Sixth part.
I'm part of a team studying what happens to human consciousness after we die. We discovered something horrifying. Roger and I exchanged looks and he slipped me a wink. "Well done," he whispered. "Now get back behind the glass." I obliged, not wanting to impact the experiment any more than I already had. "Charlotte," Roger said, "do you remember the study you agreed to participate in?" She took a deep breath, and her body rolled upwards into a sitting position. This was new. Neither of the last subjects showed anywhere near that level of physical control. Her blonde hair fell down around her as her cloth slipped onto the floor. I remember putting a gun to my head and pulling the trigger. Roger looked back at us uneasily, as though unsure how to proceed. Yes, he said after a moment. Your parents were wondering if they had hurt you in some way or... No, she wheezed, and her head snapped sideways to look at Roger. At the time I didn't think anything of it, but looking back there was something decidedly twisted about her eyes. Much like Ange, there were buzzing around her skull, her pupils darting about like ricocheting hockey pucks, but this time her mouth was a tight smile. This time she appeared to be in control. Aware. I killed myself because I needed to know that my nightmares weren't real. Around me, researchers were hastily recording details of her interaction, her words, her appearance, her biological readings. I gazed on in abject horror. I think that even then I knew that something awful was about to happen. I had that feeling, the one deep down in your gut that appears just before a car accident, or just before somebody's about to fall. And what was that? Roger said, his voice breaking as he stood next to Charlotte's buzzing pupils. What came next after you died? Everything, she muttered, sweeping a leg off of the slab, that I feared. Her pale foot hit the linoleum floor with a dull slap. Then the other followed. She took a shaking breath and then pushed herself off of the table until she was standing naked in front of Roger. What do you think happens after we die, Doctor? Roger looked sidelong at us from behind the two-way glass, his expression somewhere between nervous and fascinated. I'm not certain, he said. We all believe different things, I suppose. We were hoping you could answer that for us, Charlotte. Charlotte laughed, I think. It's hard to say, but she threw back her head and started choking irregularly. We believe. 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 She repeated the word as though tasting it. We believe so many different things and we so desperately want them to be true. But the only truth is that we return to the forgotten. The forgotten. It was a phrase we heard before from Magnus, one in which I'd assumed it referred to human beings, like those who died in meaningless wars or in periods of widespread misfortune, and yet the emphasis that Charlotte placed upon it. The forgotten? Roger repeated, taking a step back from Charlotte's hunched-over body. It was miraculous that she was standing at all, but that she remained living after several minutes was something neither of the other two subjects managed. What are the forgotten? Not what, but who? Charlotte reached out, placing a pale hand on either side of Roger's shoulders. We watched with our breath held. She lurched forward, planting her blue, decaying lips on his. They touched only for a second before Roger instinctively pushed her backward, causing her to stumble against the metal slab. She laughed again in the choking, rasping chorus, sliding onto the linoleum floor. Roger rushed to her. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, but our minds are finally made, she wheezed, not seeming to care. They evolved over millennia to mask reality, to mask the bitter truth of the universe. She spat black bile onto the floor, wiping at her lips with a shaking hand. You want to know what happens when we die? We return to the abyss that birthed us. The room around me began to murmur, some in interest, others terror. I merely watched on, my heart racing and my mouth dry. I put a bullet through my skull, Charlotte continued, because I had a vision of the end. I saw our makers, and they were dressed in dying stars and empty space. They were hopeless, empty, but just like us. They wanted medicine, a way to feel. Roger knelt beside Charlotte as her voice grew quieter with every agonizing word. We are their medicine, she rasped. Our minds are primed for love, for joy, and for pleasure. And when we die, they feed on us. They leave our souls empty and rotting until we're rebirthed into the next human, a little less whole, a little less complete. Once again that thin smile twisted its way across her blue lips, a little closer to putting a bullet through our skulls. Roger waved at us, indicating that he wanted to make sure every second of this was being properly recorded. Then, he turned back to her. What else can you tell us? That we began with meaning. But as they fed, and they fed, we grew emptier, more incomplete. Collectively, the human soul withered. Black bile poured from her lips now. It streaked down her pale body, pooling around her trembling legs like blood from a butchered lamb. Look around you. Do you feel the rage, the hatred and the pain? It's consuming the human race like a plague, and bit by bit, we're getting worse, not better. Soon we'll have nothing left to feel. No love, no joy, just emptiness. Roger's mouth hung open. His voice stuttered as he attempted to formulate a response, to articulate why she must be wrong at least. That's what I had hoped for. I'd hoped for anybody to stand up and say this was all a farce, and the experiment had been compromised and none of this could be true. But nobody did. Charlotte reached up and gripped Roger by the front of his shirt. If you want to know what comes next, I can show you.
Next part, I think it's
I'm part
last.
of a team studying what happens to human consciousness after we die. We discovered something horrifying. Roger looked at us then through the glass, his eyes wide with shock and fear. He looked at us one last time and I think he was waiting for somebody to shake their heads, to tell him that no, that was a bad idea, that he should decline. But we were all too shaken, I think. We weren't thinking straight, so he nodded. He nodded and leaned into Charlotte, and then the lights flickered and the freezer and our observation room were both plunged into darkness. The blackout lasted for just a second, maybe two. But it was long enough for everything to go wrong. When the light returned, the glass was cracked and the machine was wailing in metallic tone. Roger lay in front of Charlotte's naked corpse, his head face down in the pool of bile, smoke drifting up from his slack-jawed mouth. Charlotte's eyes were no longer buzzing. Her chest was no longer heaving. She had died for the second time. Roger had died for the first. After that, our funding was pooled. Our donor abandoned the project and scrubbed his involvement from any and all corporate records. As far as the scientific community was concerned, the experiments never occurred, and the findings didn't exist. But I remember because there's simply no way I could forget the haunting look in Agnes' eyes, the hopeless agony of Jacob's screams, or the final message that Charlotte delivered in black bile on the linoleum floor. It was messy and easy to miss. To the others, I think it must have looked like a common splatter, a simple side effect of her legs spasming in the pool of dark fluid. But I know what I saw. The letters, though crooked and barely legible, were scorched into my memory like a cattle brand. They weren't so much a warning as they were words of advice, perhaps an answer to the question we set out to ask, and the question that Charlotte had set out to answer in her book. The meaning of life, she wrote, is to avoid the agony of death. I'm part of a team studying what happens to human consciousness.
I think that was the last part. Yeah, that was the last part. Anyways, you could probably see why I don't really believe that was true. But, it is a very interesting thing. I feel like it could very well be made into a very good movie. Like, if you were to just add some stuff, it could be made very well into a movie. I don't really know what to talk about now. I mean, you've been seeing... Oh! Oh, hey, Ruben! Ruben, you're here. When did you say that? Ruben, are you still here? Sorry, for like half of that, I had been zoned out just looking at the game. Ruben, you there? I'm gonna guess that Ruben's not here anymore. Hold up, I'm gonna check on my phone. I'm just gonna go over to YouTube and check real quick. No, Ruben is not here. Okay. Well, I don't think we're ever gonna be able to figure out when he said that. Wait, maybe if I go back in the thing. Nope. Anyways, I'll just let my phone charge now while I play. Whenever I see these candles from, like, this angle, when I just glance over at it, it looks so much like a Skull Shrieker. Well, Ruben, if you ever end up watching the if you ever end up watching the video that goes up after I finish streaming, sorry I didn't see it. sorry I didn't see it. Bro, for all I know, you could have, like, joined, like, 15 minutes ago and then just left. Anyways, it's gonna take a while for me to break all of this. I don't think I'm gonna break the giant warden statue. I'm gonna leave that. Like, maybe I'll make it look better, but I'm gonna leave it mainly for the reason that it's gonna be insanely hard to get all of that reinforced deep slate gone. Well, not really hard, but it's gonna be like an insanely long process. But then when I do break it, it's not like I'll even get any. I'm not gonna like cheat in a block that's unobtainable in survival. Okay, this area of the structure seems completely completely empty of skulk and wool now. I do like that they have basalt in, I do like that they have basalt in the ancient cities now. Like, we used to only have smooth basalt in the overworld, but now we have polished basalt. And with my data pack, it makes, or not my data pack, but with the data pack with one of the data packs that I put in this, as I said earlier, it has a little bit of basalt. And by a little bit, I mean, it just completely turns into the basalt biome in the nether, without netherrack anywhere to be found. Anyways, I'm probably gonna have to, I'm gonna have to go to the bathroom in a second. So I'm gonna figure out something to put on so it's not just completely boring for everybody, and they're not gonna just have to. I feel like I might be able to put Jeopardy music on. Hold on. No. Is the Jeopardy music copyrighted. It is, okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Hold up, maybe I could... non-copyrighted music. Okay, playback speed, yeah. Here. So I will just have this playing while I'm going to the bathroom. Okay, I'm back. Hold on, I'm gonna check out how that sounds on the stream. Okay, that... It's good, it's good. Okay, Ooh, I almost just broke my monitor. There we go. Okay. So now that's yeah, that's good. That's good background music. And I made sure it's not copyrighted. It says not copyrighted in the title, so I'm gonna be pretty mad if I do get a copyright strike from this. There's a bat. Interesting. I feel like music in the background is going to make the streams a lot nicer to watch. See, the video of the stream may be lagging a lot, but the audio isn't, so that's all that really matters. This is all this is all anime remixes, but I don't recognize this one. I've watched a good amount of anime in my time. I've never. Sounds familiar. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what this one is. Whatever. I don't understand why I'm, like, focusing on it. It shouldn't be a focus. Anyways, I have gotten a pretty good area cleared out so far. Not bad at all. And what, I've only been streaming for an hour and a half? That's not bad at all. Okay, there we go. I like that I can see the sunrise and the sunset in the caves. That's just funny to me. Okay. Main thing that I like about the two main things that I like about the Deep Dark are number one, no hostile mob, or I don't think actually any mobs period can spawn. Just no mobs at all can spawn except for the bats, because like the bats can spawn above the Deep Dark. But no mobs can spawn except for the warden, and that's not even natural spawning. So that's really nice that they did that. Maybe it was on purpose, maybe it wasn't. I don't care if it was or not. They're probably just gonna have it as a feature anyways. Okay. This big archway is about to be little but rubble. Okay. Okay. This thing is very, very close. And 3, 2, 1. Oh, I counted too slow. Now that part is broken. It's all gone. Wiped off of the Minecraft planet, whatever this planet may be. Imagine this is just like Titan, like Saturn's moon, Titan. Cracked deep slate tiles. I didn't even know. That makes sense that it's a thing, but I didn't even know that that was a thing. Okay. Oh yeah, that makes a nice little detail. Because that one's cracked deep slate tiles. That's normal deep slate tiles. That makes a nice detail. Okay. Goodbye, miniature warden statue. Okay. Okay. What's this notification I just got? Ah, it's YouTuber going live. Whatever, doesn't matter. It's not like I'm gonna go watch a live stream while I'm doing a live stream. big area now. Nice. Hold on, Pro. Okay, hold on. Okay, I'm back. Okay, Okay, so I can break this outer wall. I might rebuild it, but I don't see much point to rebuilding it. I was very surprised when I got into this world because one of my data packs makes like really big shipwrecks, like really big and really detailed shipwrecks. And in those shipwrecks, there's the normal loot, like there's maps, there's food, there's armor. That's actually where I got all of this armor except for the leggings. I got the leggings down here, like I said before. But anyways, I was like excited when I followed the map and I saw an azalea tree fully grown on the surface. Then I was like, ooh, there's a lush cave. I'd like some azalea. Azalea is pretty nice. It looks very nice. So I go down, I get some azalea, then I just start seeing skulks, so I follow it down, and there's a double ancient city, and that was insane. I am happy that I did get Silk Touch, because bunch of skull catalysts, bunch of skull sensors, and I don't know if you know this, well, you is like a general term here, but like anybody watching this, I don't know if anybody knows this, but if you manually place a Skulk Shrieker, hold on one second. If you manually place a Skulk Shrieker, it can shriek as many times as it wants. It will not spawn the warden. So that's a very nice thing. I'll just fill in this water. I really don't understand how I didn't see Ruben's comment though, because I have the chat like giant on my other screen. Oh yeah, I very recently figured out that. Oh, Jesus. Calm down! Calm down! It's just another person! Like, seriously, they get so excited over a singular person. Like, my dog almost broke the blinds on my window because of a singular person that she doesn't know, because it was a person working on our house. The person just rang the doorbell to let us know that they were working on the house. And then, my dog broke one of the blinds. And the other ones were very bent, out of shape. So many, it's so much skulk. So much skulk. Did I get that chest? It seems as though I did. Okay. And got it. There you go. I gotta go get some soul torches because I don't have any more normal torches. I don't remember if soul torches give the same amount of light. I mean, light level doesn't really matter down here in the deep dark, but, you know, I like to be able to see. I mean, it's one of my 6 senses. It should be something that I have. I should have sight. That is a hoe, not a pickaxe. Okay. I feel like it gives almost the same amount of light. It's definitely a lot more gloomy, which makes sense. This is gonna be a big project, breaking all of this. I'd say at around like 2 hours 30 minutes, 2.5 hours or 3 hours. I'll end stream. Maybe I'll work a little bit off camera. But I do want to make this into a series after all of the boring stuff is done, like doing this. Because if I'm not streaming while I'm doing all the boring stuff, then I can watch videos to pass the time, just do something while doing this. Okay. I feel like I'm gonna break this. I'm gonna finish breaking this area of the ancient city. And then that area, and then I'll be done for the day. Or at least on camera, I'll be done for the day. Oh hey, there are diamonds under this. Nice. How many? 2, 3. Just 3. Yep, just 3 diamonds. Whatever. I'm not gonna mine them, because I don't feel like it. Anyways, on to this behemoth of a building. Luckily, a lot of it's skulk, so I can just break it easily with the hoe. Okay. What's in this chest? chest. Yeah, I'll break it. I mean, I'm gonna break it anyways. I don't see why I wouldn't. Okay. All of the skull needs to be on. Okay. Luckily, I'm getting, not luckily, but I'm happy I'm getting a bunch of XP from this. Is that all of the skulk? It is absolutely not. It's nowhere near all of the skulk. Okay, now to break it all down. Is there a skull? No, I already got it, didn't I? Probably did. Okay. Swift Sneak is a very nice enchantment. I don't know why some people think it should be on the boots, though. Like, Swift Sneak, it's an enchantment that makes your legs stronger. Like, it enchants your legging armor. It enchants your leggings. And since it's magic, it just makes your legs stronger so you can crouch and walk fast. Okay. Big spire. Seriously? The name tag disappeared the second I tried picking. That is terrible. That's terrible timing. What is that timing? The whole building's coming down. Temporary torch. Wait a minute. Okay, so you can't spawn multiple. Not at once, at least. It's taking a while. There we go. Not a singular durability from 6, 7. It was able to withstand 7 block breaks before it took a singular point of durability away. This thing is almost all the way down. I should probably go to the Nether tomorrow. So I can fight the Wither. Because I do have a bunch of diamonds. I can make some diamond gear. One of the data packs I have is Enderite. Like it's, you upgrade Netherite with it. So if I go to the end, I could get that and fight the Wither with that. And the only reason I'm saying I want to fight the Wither is for a beacon, because this thing's gonna take so many more hours if I were to do this with nothing. Well, not nothing, but the stuff that I have right now. If I were to do it with literally nothing, it would take possibly like months. Anyways, I'm about to get the last layer. And then after this, I'm just gonna start another stream and start streaming Nuclear Throne, because I don't really feel like playing Minecraft after I stop this stream. Get some polished deep slate. That would have been good enough. The stream is lagging so badly, and I really don't understand why, because it usually works. Sorry, I got an itch. Okay. almost, this piece is almost done. So close, then we're gonna have a giant area. Well, not giant, but it's a pretty big area, and no mobs can spawn, even if I were to take all the torches away. Of course, I'm not gonna do that, because I need to see. There it is. This piece of the thing is done. The piece of the ancient city is done. Could I sleep? Yes, I can sleep. Okay, stretch. Anyways, I'm gonna end this stream and then go over to Nuclear Throne. I don't know if you know what Nuclear Throne is, but I'll be